ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop, come on, take me higher. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop.
Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, the #1 sports information program in America, the Breakfast Bankroll, with your host, the sports broker, Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time of the week for the Breakfast Bankroll with good friend and colleague, Mr. Matthew George. You can follow Matthew George, of course, at SGTS Lab_sports, and of course, Sports Grid and Sirius XM. We're blessed to have him back talking some NBA playoffs. That's right, playoffs. A lot going on, injuries galore, kind of shaking up the landscape, I think, at least. And I'm going to ask him right away what his thoughts are there. And Sean Alvarez, Mr. Smooth Turn 2, will be here around 11:45 to talk the weekend before the Kentucky Derby, of course. So we got a lot to bring you here, and we're super stoked and excited. But first and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to WagerWire, or should I say Google Play. Download the app. It is free. Travis, Guy, Zach, myself, Amber, Hawley, Matthew, Ali, the list is endless. Come on board. You're going to have a great time, I promise. Viva Tequila Seltzer, 6 flavors in all. The East Coast is cuckoo for coconut. And last but never least, AtlantaSteaksandSeafood.com. Head on over to Facebook. Introduce yourself to Mr. Terry Smith. Come on back to AtlantaSteaksandSeafood.com. Steaks, chops, seafood, appetizers, wine. 4 subscription plans. Set it and forget it every 30 days. Mr. Terry Smith will deliver you a month's worth of protein. The only thing you'll need is a spare propane tank. So without further ado, Mr. Matthew George.
Hey, Jeff, what's going on? Good morning, everybody. How are we doing?
We're doing great. How about yourself?
All right. We have a lot of breaking news happening in the NBA, and the playoffs are still going on, and also some college basketball because of the transfer portal has just ended just last night.
Yeah, and I guess I'm a UConn Husky guy, season ticket holder, 2 daughters, 1 graduate, 1 still attending. I guess everyone on our end was waiting for the news. Alex Caravan, who decided last year to come back, and we were expecting big things, just didn't blossom, lost a lot of money by not going to the NBA. Now he was in Chicago meeting with his team, deciding whether he was going to go in, go out. I still haven't seen a final notice yet. Is he coming back? I think he's heading to the NBA.
Well, he went to the NBA. He went to the NBA Combine last season, so I wouldn't be surprised if he does actually do it again this season. So he actually gets the feel and understanding of how everything works in the NBA in terms of drilling, in terms of how the draft process works. I think it's time for him because he is a dynamic scorer. He can shoot the ball like lights out. And especially what he did for UConn with this run, I think he's NBA ready. And he should be relatively a late round to early second round draft pick, if I had to guess. But I think he's ready. He should be relatively body fit, physicality wise. I think he's ready for it.
I saw on a tweet yesterday, Kentucky's roster will be $20 million this year. So Mr. Pope has got the, let's say, the alum and the backing of his supporters, and not afraid to throw out some money. This is where the NIL has gone. This is where the transfer portal has gone. It is absolutely absurd, Matthew. Thoughts on a $20 million college roster for next year for Kentucky?
Yeah, that's a little much on the contract standpoint. But like, you see the NIL actually being a benefactor
when it comes to these kinds of things, where it's winner takes all with the amount, in terms of the amount of NIL money that these colleges have. And it's going to always be the big schools like a UConn, like a Kentucky, like a St. John's, especially since with the amount of transfers that they got. It's going to be a major impact within the way colleges hand out, not just just in basketball, but just in the NCAA just in general. So it's going to be a time for a lot of coaches, and it's going to be a change. I just wonder how your take is on how the NAL is really impacting these schools and these players that they actually want to get the NIL money, but also want to compete as well. So it's a really teeter-totter kind of situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, unfortunately, our Cinderella stories look like they're gone, because now the mid-major markets have now been a feeding grounds for the blue bloods. So, for instance, Matthew, if you went to Iona as a freshman, and let's just say they were very nice to say, hey, we're going to give you $50,000 this year. And then, Matthew, you went out and you averaged a triple-double. Well, the blue bloods are going to come in and say, well, instead of that $50,000 from Iona, we're going to offer you $1.5 million to come on down to UConn. And you would say, I'm on my way, coach.
Yeah, I mean, see, that's the thing where I would love to. If I would go to my school. I have, my dedication with Iona. I really enjoy my time there, but it's the money where it's at. You need to know how to understand about the balance of, what you want to do with your professional career, but also your personal life too, because you also want to take care of yourself, and if you also want to take care of your family too. So it's a really big understanding that you have to, that people have to understand, is that if you want to take this money, you got to go where the money's at,
Who would have thought, 3-4 decades ago, Nick Nolte, Shaq, Penny Hardaway, they would have put together a movie talking about exactly what's going to transpire with tractor trucks for guys out west, Midwest, to where we are today. It's a crazy, crazy scenario there. Before we get into some selections that you have for today, some props and breaking down today's games, give us a thought of what you've seen so far in the playoffs. Cleveland up 2-0, the Celtics up 2-0. OKC just looks like a freight train. Now we have, I guess, the lead in here, the bad fall by Jimmy Butler. I don't think he'll be ready, obviously, for Game 3 as Houston wins to make that series 1-1. But what have you seen so far, Matthew?
It's been, I would say, decently competitive throughout the playoffs so far with these two games. With the way it is right now, as you mentioned, with with Cleveland and Miami, that one's been somewhat competitive. They actually came back, almost came back in game two, with the Heat, but they unfortunately they came the Cavs came storming back in the second half. So they had a really good second quarter, with scoring 43 points and eventually winning by 9. So it was I think that was a very competitive game. And with no Jason Tatum, your Celtics still were able to win against the Magic in game 2. So they take that 2-0 series lead. Relatively, I think the Warriors still have a chance at this point. You would still losing Jimmy Butler. I still have my hopes on them, even though that they're losing their star player. They had a pelvis contusion, from what I understand from yesterday, after he suffered that injury. So it's going to be a tough task, but they are going back to San Francisco's for game 3. So this is going to be interesting to see how they handle that situation. The most competitive series, I think, so far has been the Nuggets and Clippers. It's going to be a very tight situation for both teams, especially since, I think one of the two better players in the world, with Nikola Jokic and Kawhi Leonard, obviously when he stays healthy, can't really compete against each other. It's just a matter of, Kawhi staying on the floor. But both teams have been absolutely stellar, both offensively and defensively. It's just a matter of who comes out on top.
3 games tonight. I'm going to cross sports here. I was on Sports Grid last night with Scott Wetzel and Dave Sharapan. And when we got to the hockey, I talked about a buyer beware. And here's where I'm going to go with this. It is the Avs and the Stars. The Avs opened up minus 180 to win that series. They dominate game 1. We were on the Stars game 2. They found a way to take it to overtime and win. And now we're going back to Colorado, where the whole world was like, oh, this is going to be Colorado, easy peasy in games 3 and 4. Take a 3-1 lead and head back to Dallas. And I was watching the market, Matthew, and I was like, on the show, I was just like, buyer beware here. And sure enough, Avs score early. Dallas ties it up late, and they win 2-1 in overtime. Where I'm going to go with this is the Denver and Clippers, because Denver opened up minus 135, and the whole world was like, no, pump the brakes here. They just fired the coach. They fired the GM. And next thing you know, Denver steals game 1. Clippers find a way to win game 2. Now we're going back to LA. Well, the funny thing is that line only opened up at 4.5. It is now 5. But initial thoughts on, is this as easy as the Clippers are back home and we're going to forget about Jokic, as you said?
It's tough to say, because I think that they're still competitive as a team. Like, nothing's changed on the team. Obviously, the front office has changed. But if you can coach it, if you can coach a team, I don't think it's that difficult in terms of trying to manage this team. You've seen them, how they play throughout the entire season. So next man up, you're able to step in and say, hey, we're competing. We're trying to compete for a title. We're trying to defend our championship. We're trying to do what we can to get back into, or we're trying to defend what we can. Obviously, I mentioned defending championships, but they won 2 years ago. But I think they still have a chance. It's just a matter of how they can play together on the road. Denver on the road has not been always stellar, but that's always because Nikola Jokic can play at any point throughout the season. So, it is a 5-point favorite for the Clippers, but I'll probably take that plus 5 on the Denver Nuggets. But it's going to be interesting to see how this game unfolds.
Well, I'm going to make this one easy. I think the most competitive series. Some people think Detroit should actually be up 2-0 as they come back to, I like to say the Palace, the old school Palace, of course, when the first one to 80, Matthew. I don't even think you were born way back then when these guys used to play with the Lamberts, the Thomases. You didn't go into the lane without knowing you were going to get hit. And just ask Michael Jordan on that one. 1-1 right now. New York opened up 1, now 1.5. I think a lot of people, again, hey, you won the first game, you took the foot off the gas pedal, you lost the second one. Everyone's assuming a bounce back spot here from the Knicks. And I love what Vegas did here. We opened them up at 1. We know the public's going to be on the Knicks here on the bounce back spot, but I'm going to give you the mic and the ball and say, run with it here. Give us your breakdown, your thoughts, props, and selections on the Knicks at Detroit tonight.
Yeah, it's gonna be a very, very contested battle, especially since New York is now going to Detroit, as you mentioned. And now as a one and a half point favorite for the Knicks. I would take that, to be honest, because I think they can cover that 1.5 spread. But in terms of props, I will definitely go with Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson has been able to hit 30 plus points in his last 2 games, and over Detroit, he has hit 30 plus points in 4 out of his last 5 games, including the playoffs. So I'm going to take it over 28.5 points, or minus 110 for Jalen Brunson, along with another prop with Cade Cunningham getting a double-double at plus 110, because he's hit a double-double in his last 3 straight games. And I mean, we've seen how he's able to distribute the ball and Cade Cunningham, and he's also be able to rebound the ball. So he was able to do a double-double with rebounds and or with assists. So he could do it on both ends of the floor. So obviously this is going to be one of the more competitive games by far throughout today. And I would expect this to be also a high-scoring game. So don't be surprised if this game goes over that total. I think you might have lost Jeff Dawson here. You're still muted.
Looks like we had a power surge. Great job there, Matthew. That was, I'm like, oh my God, it just went bloop. You were talking about you like the Knicks, correct, on the bounce back?
Yeah, absolutely. And then I think to take a look at the over as well, because I think there would be a lot of scoring in this one. Over 214, I would probably go over that number, because I think there's going to be at least 100 points scored on both teams. So look about a 1-0, like a 110 to 112 kind of situation with both of these teams coming up.
Next game on the docket, we'll go to Thunder at Grizzlies. They won game 1, I think, by 50. They could have won by 75. It looks like, listen, they were in this spot last year. They were in a spot where Dallas, the 5 seed, came in and stole a game in OKC. They weren't able to bounce back. Dallas eventually loses to the Celtics in the championship. I think they've been razor focused. A lot of the talk leading up to the playoffs, Matthew, was about the Lakers, was about Golden State. It wasn't about the Thunder. And I think SGA and the rest, and Chet and the rest of these guys says, okay, you don't want to talk about us, that's fine, we'll just prove it on the court here. And Vegas, it does not want to get burnt by this team. This number opened up on the road now. OKC up 2-0. OKC opened up at 8.5 and is already now, and Jeff Benson at the Circa, you knew where I was going with this. He just moved the line on us, Matthew. They listen here in Vegas, whether it's the Westgate, whether it's the Circa, now 9.5 with a 227. Initial thoughts on OKC traveling to Memphis, 9.5 point favorites.
I don't think it matters if they're going to OKC or if they're going to Seattle. Like, come on. I think that this is gonna be. It's gonna probably just be another blowout for this game. We see the first two games on how defensively the Grizzlies just have not been able to compete with the Thunder with their young crew that they have. It's gonna be. It's going to be a sweep. I believe it. We Coach James Young and I were talking about it in the podcast as well. It's going to be a 4-game sweep. Let's go to the next. Let's just go to the next series. So, in terms of the prop bets, we're definitely going to go with 2 Thunder players. First off, on Chet Holmgren, because Chet Holmgren has been able to score the ball at will. It's gonna probably be Chet Holmgren over 16.5 points. If you could check Holmgren over 16.5 points at -112. He's recorded 19 points in game 1 and 20 points in game 2. So I don't see why not he would be able to shoot the ball. He's shooting lights out already throughout the season, and he's shooting pretty well against the Grizzlies, over 40% from 3 as well in the playoffs so far against the Grizzlies. And I think he's going to be a major benefactor for this team. Aside from that, we can go with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander over 6.5 assists. Although he has not gotten over that number in quite a while, he's been struggling on offense these first 2 games. But that doesn't matter because the Thunder have just been blowing him out. So it's going to be an interesting time for the Thunder. They're gonna just go to the next series and be able to run through the windows with the Grizzlies. It's game over. Let's just move on to the next series in the semifinals with the Thunder.
Denver at the Clippers 1-1. This line opened up at 4.5. It's been pushed to 5. The under over at 215, now down to 213.5. Your initial thoughts before we get into some props and stuff on what you're seeing or what you expect, especially early. We've been very successful. We're 2-0 in the NBA first halves. We had OKC game 1 -8 in the first half. I think they're up 30. We had Houston last night -2.5 first half. They were up 15 or whatever it was. Any thoughts early? Are you expecting Kawhi and company to feed off of the crowd and a big start for them? Or is this something where Joker and company set the tempo?
Joker and company sets the tempo. I agree with that because I think that they are the ones that have the more experience, as we know. Although we understand that Kawhi Leonard has all the experience in the world, that he has more championships than anybody on both rosters. But that being said, I think that Nikola Jokic does come out on top with this because he's going to be he's going to be the one reason why that the Clippers are going to be having some fits with Denver. But I think that with the combination of Michael Porter Jr., of Jamal Murray, the scoring output can be a lot better for Denver. But I'm gonna go sticking straight up with Nikola Jokic in terms of the prop betting. We're gonna go straight up with Nikola Jokic. This is gonna be a big one. Coach and I talked about this as well. I'm going to agree with him as well in going with Nikola Jokic, going for a triple-double. I know it's a bit of a stretch, although it is at plus money at plus 130. I think he's definitely going to get it because he's gotten a triple-double in 6 out of his last 10 games. Okay, if you don't like that, he had a triple and double in game 2. So look for him to bounce back with this team. He's going to be able to get this series up back into 2-1 and be able to contend for, especially since he's also contending for an MVP. He's also in contention for MVP. Obviously, I think it will go to SGA, but still, what I think Nikola Jokic can bring to the table is nothing but amazing. And I'm also going to take him for 25 plus points at -180 because he's going to be the benefactor, like I mentioned. So, definitely look out for that.
Celtics rest. They head to Orlando. My assumption up 2-0. We saw what Jaylen Brown, the alpha dog, can do without Mr. Tatum. We saw the unicorn Porzingis get hit in the head. He looked like Drago, and he comes back with a.
I mean, did you see that? Oh my goodness! I mean, the dude was still able to compete, but like, man, I also saw that Joe Mazzulla said, "Yeah, I like this guy. I like this guy for being bloody and whatnot because he's gonna be a competitor." I mean, I call Joe Mazzulla a little crazy, but I mean, hey, I love the competitive spirit.
Thoughts? Is it a gentleman's sweep? Can Orlando find a one win in Orlando, or is this going to be like you think with OKC a 4-game sweep here?
I just don't think that they have enough firepower in in terms of the Magic, Jeff, because as much as I would like to say they have a fighting chance, they don't because they need. First of all, they're obviously, as we know, that they're missing Jalen Suggs. Jalen Suggs is probably one of the better guard defenders in the league, and he's solidified himself over the years. He wasn't really good at the start at the start of his career, and now he's being one of the better defenders, better guard defenders in the country, in the world. So the problem with it is that they don't have the depth compared to the Celtics. And obviously we know their star power in the Celtics with Jalen Brown. Jalen Brown could definitely step up, and Porzingis can step up as well with Jason Tatum out. So it's going to probably be another. I agree. I think it's going to be a gentleman's sweep. Same thing with with that Thunder series as well. It's just I like what Jamal Mosley is doing for this team, but they definitely need a lot more firepower on both the offense and defensive end because it just can't be Franz Wagner and Paulo Banchero every single night. They need more than just those two.
And you saw last night, when I was on Sports Grid, they asked me about the Celtics covering. Cleveland was up 16. I like the first halves because I don't want to have to worry about the end of the third quarter phone call from the NBA or the halftime phone call. The back door is always open, as anyone that had Orlando plus 9.5 last night or better. They get the last shot by Paolo and they cover. And in our lanes, as you know, it's not if you win or lose, it's did you cover? And the same thing happened to Cleveland. Miami came storming back. And next thing you know, we had a ball game with a couple minutes to go. Can you expect Miami the same way this weekend? Can they get a push? Can they get anything? Or is this Cleveland going to wake up and say, no, we're not falling for the banana in the tailpipe here?
Well, with the trade that's been happening, the trade that happened with Jimmy Butler, it seems like that you're trying to get used to seeing how the rotation goes within these two teams with Miami because you're trying to still implement Andrew Wiggins, how he's still fitting. You got to fit Khalil Ware with the minutes that he's playing because he's also a rookie. Haywood Highsmith has been good at some points. He did shoot well, 5 of 6 from 3 against Cleveland in the game 2, but that wasn't enough. They had Davion Mitchell who's starting. I think they need a better point guard. He's very good. He's been very good offensively apparently for them, but I don't think that's gonna. I think that's gonna change. It might be just a one stint performance from him. He can shoot the ball pretty decently, but he's more of a defending guard. They need someone. They need someone better. To alleviate and enhance this group. Obviously, as we know, they're 37. Not to mention that they were 37-45 at the end of the regular season. They definitely need a star player more than just Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo. They only could do so much on the floor to where they could say they could develop Khalil Ware. They can develop some of these younger talent, but at the end of the day, you need the playoff experience. And the only playoff experience that they really have is maybe Andrew Wiggins, but he hasn't really been shooting the ball well with his team because he's trying to still adjust. Bam Adebayo, who's been doing pretty decently, but he's also struggling for the floor. Tyler Hero, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, his first playoff experience was with Jimmy Butler in that bubble year. He had some stints, but then again, that was his rookie year, so he only could do so much. This team, and I think this series, it's just going to be, I think they could take maybe one game, but that's if they can, if that's good, they can win at least one quarter. Have them win at least one quarter, just like how they did in the fourth quarter. I mean, not fourth quarter. I'm talking about like first quarter, second quarter. If the Miami can actually win at least one of those 2 quarters, then I think they should be able to win. Either that is going to be a sweep.
Last question. It's NFL draft day. You're in New York. I'm in the East here on Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Everyone seems to know everything when you and I both know, and our buddy Sean Alvarez knows as well. No one knows anything. Give us a crazy thought. Give us something you're rooting for. Like the Patriots have the 4th pick, and I know it's not going to happen. They're going to take Will Campbell, of course, but I'm rooting for them to shock the world and take Tyler Warren, but I know that's not going to happen. Give me who you're rooting for and give me a crazy thought, Matt.
I call me crazy, but I wouldn't be surprised. I was talking about it because I was producing Sports Rage tonight with Gabe Morency, and I told him I wouldn't be surprised if Shedeur Sanders goes number 3 to the New York Giants. I'm not a Giants fan per se. I'm a Packers fan, so I love my Packers and Jordan Love and this team, and I also have high hopes with Houston. Obviously, they're losing. They lost a lot of big players due to injuries, but call me crazy. I wouldn't be surprised if Shedeur Sanders actually goes number 3. This team. I don't understand what they're doing. What they did this offseason with the quarterback situation. I don't understand the Russell Wilson. Jameis Winston, I understand is a backup, so that doesn't really matter too much. I don't understand it, but my hope is that they figure out something. New York needs something to figure out at some point. Just New York sports in general, because we have the New York Yankees doing decently well. We have the Mets actually winning like 7 straight now. Yeah, we have anti-high poster, but it's early in the season. If the Giants can figure out some way to bounce back after this whole shenanigan with Daniel Jones, I think it's the right way to go. And for Ashton Genty, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to somewhere like a Chicago Bears, or even call me crazy, or probably even a Las Vegas Raiders, because those teams need help on the back end in terms of their offense.
Yeah, Bears sitting at 10. A lot of people have penciled Genty into the Raiders at 6. The Bears, if they wanted to move up, they could call the Patriots and move up to 4. We'll take 10 and a 2nd round pick. The Bears move up to 4 and get Genty, I want DJ Moore in a draft pick, but I know that's not happening, of course.
I have a question for you. Where would you think Tyler Warren from Penn State? Because he's been a stellar tight end, but it's just a matter of how much he can impact on a team in his initial rookie year.
Yeah, I'm a huge Tyler Warren fan. I think he'd be a perfect fit for the Patriots. The other tight end steaming up the boards is Loveland from Michigan. I'm hearing the Colts are real high on Warren. I'm hearing Denver is real high on Warren or Loveland. So keep an eye on those 2 spots for the tight ends. I will say this, though. If somehow, some way, Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers have their way, they will move up to draft Loveland. Of course, he's from Michigan, and Harbaugh wants him desperately to add to the Justin Herbert weapons, which he stole Ladd McConkey from Elliott Wolf and Gerard Mayo last year, which is so comical when we wanted Polk and Baker. Everyone can follow you on Twitter at SGTS_SportsLab. Of course, I always like to say I follow you on SportsGrid when you reach out to me, and you do some Sirius XM radio work as well. But I always give you a couple seconds here, talk about your podcast with Coach Young, where else everyone can follow you.
Yeah, again, as Jeff mentioned, we could follow me at SGTS Labs _sports. We're doing a lot of stuff there on social media if you want to talk sports as well. I produce a show called In Game Live Game Day on 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern with Scott Wetzel and Dave Sheriff, as you saw Jeff Dawson last night with them as well. And I do a podcast with Coach James Young every Tuesday and Thursday that gets released on SportsGrid for that podcast. We talk about both college and college WNBA and the WNBA as well, especially since the draft is just concluded too.
Yep, tomorrow, 11:35, you're back. We'll recap what happened last night. We'll talk about the weekend games, of course, and maybe I'll have a couple WNBA questions as number one Miss Page, Buckets, Beckers, off to Chicago. So we can't wait.
Oh, of course, absolutely, and it's gonna be it's gonna be an amazing time in the WNBA season. I'm very, very excited to see how she does.
Matthew, have a great day. Enjoy the games tonight. Enjoy Sports Grid, and we'll see you tomorrow at 11:35.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you, Jeff. Have a good one.
You too. Matthew George, go follow him on Twitter, Sirius XM, and of course, the Sports Grid. Multi-talented. We're blessed and honored to have him a part here of the East Coast Sports Investors family, where we'll be doing a lot of work throughout the NBA playoffs, the WNBA, and we're going to take them right through to football, so we can't wait. Quick commercial break, and then we're going to start horsing around with the best, the one and only Mr. Sean Alvarez. Stay tuned.
Jared, hey, we're going to need you to tone it down with the Summer Friday thing, okay?
What are you talking about?
Well, for one, it's not summer anymore.
Oh, really?
Coconut. Also, who is this?
I'm the caddy.
Oh, he's my intern.
Sorry, intern. I'm his intern.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
No golfing in the office, okay? Summer Fridays are over. You can keep the Hawaiian shirt, but the rest of the stuff, all right? Are you grilling?
Oh, yeah. Did you want a burger or a hot dog?
No, grilling in the office.
That's a good point. We should take this outside.
No, that don't. You put that right back down.
Yo, it's all in the hips.
Oh, dude, come on, we gotta go. Let's go.
Well, he's been sitting patiently. Let's bring him on because we got a big weekend here. We are one Saturday away from the Run for the Roses. And I don't know. I think it's supposed to be 20 horses. I'm only hearing one, Sean. I'm only hearing one. It can't be that easy. I know Secretariat isn't running. I know Thunder Gulch. Easy goer. I mean, the list is endless here. What the hell's going on? Let's bring him on. Mr. Sean Alvarez. What's up, Sean?
Jeff, I mean, like you alluded to, it's an exciting time. Wow. Kentucky Derby's 1 week away. Last year, we saw $320 million bet on the Kentucky Derby races. So there's a lot of money out there, a lot of money to be had if your opinion's right. So a lot of opinions are going to be flying around, and like you said, there really is one horse in the Kentucky Derby that everybody's talking about, and that's the likes of journalism trained by Michael McCarthy, and it's a well-deserving favorite. But like we've talked about in years past, he's still got to beat 19 other horses, something he's never done before, something he'll probably never do again. So, like we've spoke about, and like we'll talk about later today at Keeneland, if you have an opinion, you can find value. And even if you really like the favorite, you can find value in betting the favorite with getting long shots underneath or even on top. So a lot to talk about next week, especially, but we've got closing weekend, or I should say closing day, since it's closing tomorrow at Keeneland.
Before we get to the two races that you're going to break down, race 6 at Keeneland and race 8, of course, all the hoopla and the post positions. We know and we know this won't happen. Journalism won't get stuck at 2019. He won't get stuck at 1. Is there a spot, Sean, a honey hole, that if you were a journalism backer and you want to see a potential Triple Crown, is there a honey hole that you would want to see this horse land when it comes to drawing at post position?
Yeah, I mean, in an interview last year with Mike Rapoli, who the owner of Fierceness, which was the Derby favorite going into that first Saturday in May, he said it kind of spot on last year. He believed he had the best horse in the field, and he doesn't want to get bottled up inside with a bad trip or somebody just kind of locking him into the rail. So I would say kind of a honey hole would be maybe 12 to 16. Yeah, you don't really want all the way to the outside, but if you have the best horse in the field, I'd rather go 2, 3, 4 paths wide than get slammed in on the rail and have to do a Mystic Dan type trip that we saw last year, squeezing through that rail opening. So I think Michael McCarthy's would want to be on the outside. I would say that the 2, maybe 3 positions he doesn't want are, 1, 2, 3, basically. Because, if you don't break like a shot, like we saw Dornock last year, we thought Dornock getting the 1 rail, the 1 position wasn't going to be that big of a deal. He didn't break all that bad. He just didn't break like a shot. And he got shuffled back. I was watching the Race for the Crown on Netflix, and the owner of the horse, Jason Worth, said the first time he came around, his race was already over. He's 17 lengths back. He's not in the position he wanted to be in. Jason Worth could have turned around and known that his horse wasn't going to win. So, there's a lot of different trips that can be had in the Kentucky Derby. And, like I alluded to before, having to go up against 19 other horses, you really have to be lucky and the best horse of the day. And sometimes the best horse of the day doesn't always win. I'll get on my soapbox and I'll get off real quick. Last year, our horse, Forever Young, was easily the best horse in the race. And, got in a little bit of a hand fight with Flavian Pratt in Sierra Leone. And that cost us a nose, and that was the ending finishing length. So hats off to Mystic Dan and Brian Hernandez for a great trip. I love Flavian. I won't talk bad about him, but I wish he wouldn't have hand fought us on the way to the wire.
We'll have you on next Thursday and Friday because your race is obviously on Friday and Saturday, the big one, of course. Last question. You got Biff's Almanac in front of you. Give us what you think the closing odds will be for journalism.
I think you're going to find out anywhere between 2 to 1, maybe not even as high as 3 to 1, maybe 2 to 1, 5 to 2. But honestly, it's kind of lukewarm second and third choices, in my opinion. I will say the 2 jobs in horse racing that I'll never do is a morning line track odds maker and a track announcer. 2 very thankless jobs that are incredibly difficult. So my opinion, I think we're going to see around 2 to 1, 5 to 2. And I really think we're going to see second and third choices kind of hover around 8 to 10 to 1. So if you like other horses, I mean, you're definitely going to get paid. And even if you love the favorite, you get the likes of a Rich Strike or, a Mind That Bird coming in second place, you're still going to get paid. And while I am definitely going to wait for the post position to really kind of, land on my opinions, and I definitely have some replay work to do. I will give you a couple little tidbits. You're going to see a lot of people talk about how well the horses are working, how poorly the horses are working. Don't get caught up in that. Let's just go back to last year. The workers said Fierceness couldn't look better on the track. Just blowing the doors off, looks great, just skipping over the dirt. He finished 15th. They said Forever Young couldn't look worse on the track. Just throwing his head, didn't like working out. He was probably the best horse in the race. So don't hang your hat on what clockers are saying in the morning. This could be the first time that we've ever seen these horses race or run in the morning. Just another little tidbit. 2 Asmussen trained horses. They're raving about Publisher. Publisher is better than Tistastic. Tistastic is a Tappet horse. They are completely full of themselves, and he's known to be a slow and poor worker in the morning. So now these workout reporters are seeing this. They're Publisher's so much better. Well, take that with a grain of salt.
We got 2 races to break down. As you said, closing day tomorrow at Keeneland Horse Race in Louisville, Kentucky. Race number 6, 7 furlongs in the dirt. Take it away, sir.
Yeah, so 7 furlongs is really, kind of hitting horse. I wouldn't say hitting horses between the eyes. That's the wrong phrase, but it's really a middle ground between sprinting horses and route horses. Most route races start at a mile, which is 8 furlongs. This is an eighth of a mile shorter, 7 furlongs going 1 turn. So it really is a tricky distance, and that's kind of why I'm leaning against fading the favorite. 2 to 1, the number 5, Sam's Treasure, has not gone this far. And each time he tries to stretch out a little bit past 6 furlongs, he's gone 6.5. He tends to kind of back up a little bit. So I'm going to be kind of fading him up top. And the horse that I landed on is the filly number 3, Zadorsky, at 3-1, ridden by, the Oaks winner last year, the Kentucky Derby winning jockey last year, Brian Hernandez. I really like what this horse is doing. She has ran 7 furlongs before. She's won at that 7 furlongs distance. And, she ran really well at Saratoga. 2 tough second place finishes. She got shipped to Fairgrounds. Her buyer speed figures kind of went backwards a little bit. Maybe she didn't really like that Fairgrounds track. She's come back to work out on the Keeneland surface twice back to back with good workouts. So that's going to be my top pick. I really like the way that she kind of eats up that ground in that 7 furlong distance. So that's going to be my top pick at 3-1. And then I'm going to kind of go to the outside, number 7, Central Avenue at 6-1. This horse, ran decently at Colonial, but Michael Stidham saw fit to run back in the grade 1 Frizette the next time out and ran a decent second place finish behind Just FYI, which is a solid horse that I believe ran in the Kentucky Oaks last year. And then ran in the grade 2 Goldenrod, ran just behind a horse that I think you can recognize, a horse by the name of Torpedo Anna. She's done pretty well in her career. So I really like what that horse is doing. She's gotten time off since running in Saratoga last August. She's working out well. So I like her chances at that 6-1 price. And then my third choice is going to be the 8, Come As You Are, another price at 8-1. Sees fit to get Velasquez. Johnny V's a Hall of Fame jockey, and not necessarily the easiest jockey to get. He's going to have a lot of calls from trainers to try and get him mounted onto their horse. So I like that Johnny V sees fit to ride this horse back again. Off a little bit of a break since February, has come back and worked out well. So again, nothing really blowing the doors off. She is going to have to improve, but she has improved in almost each and every one of her starts. So give me a little bit of a price at 8-1. That's going to be my third choice, the number 8, Come As You Are. So like we always try to do, with our listeners, let's try and get a little bit of a price. So I do like that number 3 is my top choice, but I'm going to pair her up with the 3, the 7, and the 8 on top, and then the 1, 3, 5, 7, 8 underneath for $1 that will cost $12 to punch. And, like I just said, I do like prices even on top. So let's try and beat this favorite and get a little bit of, get paid on closing day at Keeneland.
And the second race you want to discuss will be the 8th race, grade 3, the Bewitch Stakes, 1.5 miles on the turf. Do they cut to a commercial break? Are these horses going to get some oxygen here? What the hell is this, Sean?
Yeah, so we're going 3 turns on the turf, not just 2 turns. And I will say Del Mar is probably the best place for it because you get a lot of college students that aren't necessarily big horse racing fans. They just enjoy being there and putting their $2 on a horse. If you ever see a race go 3 turns at Del Mar, sit by the finish line and wait for people to cheer the first time they go around. It's hilarious. But yeah, so yeah, like I said, it's kind of a marathon distance that we kind of describe it as in horse racing. And it is a little bit longer. You don't necessarily, what you'll see a lot of these horses kind of bunch up going into that first turn and that first time around. They go slow. There's not a lot of middle moves going on. And then it's really a sprint from home coming in. So my top pick is actually going to be the second choice. And it's the number 2, Immensitude, 5-2, ridden by my favorite jockey in the world, Flavien Prat. And one thing I really like about Flavien, especially on these longer route turf races, it gives him, he's got a really good mental clock about how fast they're going, what's the time on each kind of quarter type fraction. So he has that little mental clock and he can always say, you know what, we're going too slow. Let's go right now. And we've seen him do it. We've seen him do it on favorites. We've seen him do it on long shots. He just kind of puts the field away. He's not going to go make a move and then sit on his horse and wait for other people to come up. He says, it's time to go right now. I've got enough horse, and I could definitely see Flavian doing something like that with this horse. She can't come from further back. She likes to be a little bit closer. So, like I said, we can see kind of Flavian make that move. He'll know where the favorite is. He'll know where the horses that he needs to be are compared to, the pace of the race. So that's going to be my top pick. I like what she's doing. I like Bill Mott, Flavian Pratt, great human connection as far as the horse goes. So that's going to be my top pick, Immensitude at 5-2. And then I'm going to swallow a little bit of chalk. I'll go with the favorite, the number 3, Forever After All, at 9-5, ridden by Irad Ortiz. This is a horse that's not, she's probably going to be, kind of trailing the field all the way throughout. But like I said, we're not going to, see a rabbit go out there and see quick fractions that come, chase people down. So she's going to kind of have it her own way. Irad's going to be there, but I do think that Flavian's going to know where Irad is at all times, and he's going to try and push the button first. So maybe, we get a little bit of a price on top, beating that favorite, the number 3, Forever After All. So let's try and get paid a little bit. I'm going to use just these 2 top picks up top, the 2 and the 3 on top. And then I'm going to use the 2, the 3, the 5, the 8, and the 9 underneath for $1 that cost $8. I appreciate you getting my email. I definitely messed up giving you the wrong price. I looked at it and I was like, that's not even close to right. So we do have prices underneath. The 8 is 8-1. The 9 is 12-1. The 5 is 12-1. So we can definitely get paid even while having the favorites on top. The only thing we definitely do not need is the favorites going 1-2. We'll win the ticket. We'll still lose money if that happens. So let's try and get a price underneath. And I will give you a little bit of a tidbit. If this race gets rained off the turf, it's a possibility, but Keeneland's really good about keeping their graded stakes races on the turf. But if for some reason this race gets rained off the turf and it's on a wet main track, I really like the number 5, Just Basking, at 12-1. I don't think you're going to get 12-1 if, like I said, we're on a wet dirt track, but I really like that horse as a price if that happens.
Well, we're to the point. It was funny. Months ago, we were doing spot shows, and I was like, sooner or later, it's going to be that first Saturday in May, the hats, the mint juleps, the run for the roses. When the world stops because football and the Super Bowl's over, there's no more March Madness. We're already 6 weeks, 8 weeks into baseball. And we got the NBA, NHL playoffs. Everyone thinks, oh, I can't wait till football starts. And I just despise that. Between you and I, we got the Kentucky Derby. 2 weeks later, we got the Preakness. Then we got the Belmont. And next thing you know, you're going to be doing shows every Friday talking about Saratoga and the summer cards.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like you said, we've got the Triple Crown. I highly recommend people to watch the Netflix special, The Race for the Crown. It's a nice little lead up going into the Kentucky Derby, get you a little bit excited. And, like you said, we've got the Preakness, we've got the Belmont. It's going to be the second year that Belmont's at Saratoga, which for me is exciting. I know maybe some Belmont and New York people don't necessarily like that, but I love the Graveyard of Champions. And like you said, we've got Saratoga Summer Meet, we've got Del Mar Summer Meet. And before you know it, blink your eyes and there's the Breeders' Cup.
I can't wait, Sean. This scroll has been going the whole time. At Smooth Turn 2, obviously, on Twitter. Wager Talk, wt.buzz/SA. But I always let you wrap it up here on this segment here. Tell them where they can find your written work. And, of course, the long-term approach on how to get all your selections.
Yeah, so, I mean, you already kind of mentioned it. It's wt.buzz/SA. Is a nice little short link to my page. That's where you're going to get all my plays. I'm doing well in golf, obviously doing well in horse racing. Not doing as well in baseball, trying to get my feet underneath me. I will definitely be honest and let you know that I'm still working on right around 500. And, when you're right around 500, you're not necessarily making any money. So trying to get that turned around. I've got free plays up there as well. So, go over and head to my page. We are going to have a big Kentucky Derby Oaks and Derby card. So go over and head over there. You'll get both days. And I'm also going to have horse racing plays this time for that weekend. So if you don't necessarily want to come up with your own bets or just kind of see selections, I will also have, $200 to $300 worth of just bets that I feel are value plays to try and make money on the cards.
Sean, always a pleasure. Next week, we're blessed to have you twice on Thursday and Friday. Can't wait. Give you a full week to get all your homework done, which I know you'll have well in advance. So have a great weekend. Tell the boys out west that the East Coast says hello.
Absolutely. Will do. I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you, Sean. Sean Alvarez, go follow him at Smooth Turn 2. Of course, go check out all his work at Wager Talk. When it comes to horses, we don't horse around here. The best in the business. We're blessed and honored to have him a part here. Quick commercial break, and we'll wrap it up. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Good Food. At Atlanta Steaks and Seafood, you'll find the highest quality meats from a variety of delicious cuts. Tomahawks, salmon fillets, ribeyes, and plenty more to choose from. With an easy-to-use, mobile-friendly website, selecting your pick of meat is made quick and easy. And don't forget, worrying about your dinner is a thing of the past. Check out some of the amazing subscription packages that Atlanta Steaks and Seafood has to offer. From fresh steak and seafood straight to your door. Order online at atlantasteaksandseafood.com.
Amazing show today. Matthew George talking NBA playoffs, and it's the first round. It's usually chalk central. Are we going to have an upset here? And I don't know. We could have one tonight. I like where his eyes are on Denver. I think the whole world's pushing in on the Clippers and sleeping on the Joker. So maybe the Joker gets a last lap there. And of course, New York, Detroit, 1-1 there. Will Detroit, that Cade Cunningham Express, rip the heart out of the Knicks, maybe jump and pounce on them early, or if the Knicks and Brunson and company get out early, could be tough sledding there. And then OKC Memphis, it's up to 9.5 for the 227. So good luck there. And then, of course, Mr. Sean Alvarez, Keeneland closing day tomorrow. So he blessed us with 2 races there. Next week, he'll be back Thursday and Friday for the Run for the Roses, of course. There tomorrow, 11 a.m. NCAA Insiders back for Friday Night Lights in college baseball, and then of course Matthew George will be back around 11:35 to recap what happened last night, or tonight I should say, and of course get us set for the Friday Night Lights for the NBA and anything he may see throughout the weekend there. Around 1:30-ish, Scottie Webb will be back for MLB Friday night as well. So thank you guys. If you haven't already, jump on over to YouTube at East Coast Sports Investors. You can follow us there. Subscribe. We're over 10,000 subscriptions. We couldn't be more happier here. Now we're on the road to 20,000. So everyone have a blessed day. Enjoy yourselves. Always stay in your lanes. Any questions, comments, concerns, you can head on over to EC Sports Invest on Twitter. I will answer any question you may have. If you have an email, send us to eastcoastsportsinvestors@gmail.com. Have a great day, guys. See you soon.